Hello everyone, it's Monica, also known as Sleep After 60, and I'm coming to you on Saturday, June 10th, 2017. I usually don't come on Saturdays. I usually do my updates on Tuesdays. I did do one, but I could not get it uploaded or downloaded or whatever the word is, so that's why I decided to do one today because I didn't want to get behind. So here's my brief spiel. So I'm 64 years old, right under 5'5". I had a gastric sleeve on March 14th, 2017 at the University of Minnesota Fairview campus, or Fairview Hospital, with Dr. Daniel Leslie. I started this process 2 years ago. I was 240. I started with Weight Watchers. When I started with the university on November of 2016, I was 224. The day of surgery, I was 198. Last week, which was week 11, this is my 12th week. It's almost 3 months. It's crazy, right? I was 166.9 with a loss of 2.7 pounds. So I'm really aware of time because I have an iPad and I can't for some reason, I can't download anything or upload anything that's over 15 minutes. So chop. The eating is going well. I made 2 changes last week that I wanted to discuss, and one of them is that I bought a new fancy schmancy scale, and I was a little going a little nutty with my old scale because I couldn't trust it. So I had this chair in my guest room bathroom where my scale is, that I would put it on the scale to make sure it was the right weight, and sometimes it wasn't, so I couldn't trust it. So I went out Amazon, bought a fancy schmancy Wi-Fi, does everything but bring you coffee scale, and so I'm totally trusting that scale, so I don't have to do anything crazy. All I have to do is stand on it. But as I have mentioned many times before, when I went to eating disorder treatment 8 years ago, part of the treatment mode was about breaking free from your scale. So I stopped weighing, and I would see a dietitian every week, and so there was something about weighing and not weighing and all of that, because some people had really unhealthy relationships with their scales. And I think I keep saying I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and then I don't get it done. But I am thinking about putting together a couple of videos about just treatment and how it works and what I learned and because I sometimes talk about the cornerstones. So anyway, with some discussion, because I still see a therapist every week regarding my eating disorder. I was diagnosed with binge eating disorder many years ago. As we speak, I've been in recovery close to a year, not a year yet, but and sort of when the last, on May 27th was the year anniversary of me going to the bariatric team, and the bariatric team, the first one that I went to, not at the university, but the first one that I went to, they were the ones that came to me and sort of suggested that that surgery might be a good thing for me because I was having the comorbidity issues. And so anyway, so weighing isn't part of my daily life. I kind of broke free from that, but I decided in conversation with my therapist, sort of like, well, what would this look like, and what does it mean to just have a tool? Because I know that a lot of you talk about weighing every day, and sort of just being a tool. So since the since May 30th, I've been weighing every morning with this fancy schmancy. The interesting thing that I was telling my husband of 3 months, it was our anniversary last Saturday. I was telling him that the interesting thing about growing old is that I don't remember the number. So unless I write it down, or unless I take my phone there or my iPad, where the Wi-Fi sort of, clocks in, I can't remember from day to day what the weight was the day before. So, which is a good thing, right? I realize it's a very different relationship with your scale when you're in the beginning of having had, your VSG, and you're sort of losing weight, as it's different than when you're binging and you're sort of going the other way, and it's kind of that crisis every day and getting on the scale. But what I've noticed, interestingly enough, is that every couple of days I do gain like about a half a pound. Nothing has changed. It just goes up, and then it comes down again. And it's kind of a good way for me to sort of, it's just a number. Let me keep track of it. I think this morning I was 165, which, from whatever it was from Tuesday or the other Tuesday, it's like 3 or 4 pounds, something like that. So, it's interesting. So I'm trying to sort of use it as a tool and just kind of break free. It's just another tool, the way that, I used to have a really difficult time. And I'm not good about writing everything that I eat. I just tend to, I think I mentioned that before, I tend to kind of eat the same things. I sort of broke away from that because it was very anxiety provoking to me in the past. I wouldn't write down what I ate because there was so much judgment, and I've sort of broken away from that, where I just write it down, if it's out of the ordinary, if it's not what I'm eating every day, just to figure out what it is that I'm eating, to kind of keep track, and not a judgment, no. So a couple of things. The eating is going really well. I decided, I just said that about not being good about keeping track, but today I decided that I'm going to start, because sometimes I wonder if I'm getting enough protein, and I'm seeing my doctor next week, so I decided to, just for a week, keep track and see how I do and see how I feel about it. If it brings a lot of anxiety, I'm probably going to stop, but it hasn't. It's just a way of keeping track. I've noticed I've started doing a green smoothie, which I put yogurt. Today I did collagen, put some protein in it. But I am noticing that it's doing some good things to my gut. I'm noticing, constipation not being an issue, even though I do take fiber. So again, no judgment. I'm just feeling better because I'm so early out, just, barely 3 months, that I'm not eating raw vegetables. Everything has to be cooked, and I don't have enough room in my tiny tummy. So having a handful of baby spinach, and fruits, it was a good addition. So I noticed that I wasn't getting enough protein. So today I started with just having a Premier in the morning, just so that I would add to it. And I had stopped doing that because it was too sweet for me, and I noticed today it was a little sweet, but I was sort of thinking, this is, I need this for nourishment, and that's it. So I also had a glass of wine sometime last week. My husband and I, because we're retired, we tend to, kind of go out, probably more than I would when I was working. I don't know. I can't remember. It's been 2 years. But anyhow, I did have a glass of wine, and nothing horrible happened. I had only had a glass of champagne in the past for my birthday, and that worked out really well. And the interesting thing, my husband is adorable. When I've said, I'm afraid of drinking because I don't know what's going to happen, he said, I quote, he goes, "You need to practice at home." So I had a glass of wine, and it was a very small glass, And you know, hello VSG 2016, Michelle, she showed these wine glasses that they sell at Amazon that are great. They have these lines so that you know how many ounces. And in the past, and I love wine, especially this time of year, you know, a really good white wine is just lovely and it's really cold. But my glasses are probably like 12 ounces. I have no idea how much. I think one site I measured them when I was doing, which would have been like two summers ago when I was doing Weight Watchers for points. It was like 2 servings, you know, because they're huge. So I didn't. I probably had 4 ounces and I was fine. And it tasted lovely. And, you know, we're starting to have warm weather. Yes, this is why this is all about it being really humid. My hair just gets bigger and bigger as it gets humid. So anyhow, so anxiety. Anxiety, I had a major incident last week. I was looking for pants, summer pants. As I've mentioned before, I'm still shopping out of my closet. I go down to size 6. I go down to size 4. I have clothing down to size 4. And I just needed, for some reason, whenever I was at my lowest, I don't have a lot of summer clothes for that. But, or I don't have size clothing for where I am now. Anyway, I just wanted a couple of pants. And I don't wear pants all that much, but I wanted a couple of summer pants. And I went to Macy's. I usually buy things online, and they were too big. They were size 8. To make a long story short, I tried on a pair of size 6s, and they were fine. I had an anxiety attack. So I came home and journaled about it and wrote something about it. And what I wrote was that the panic came because I've been here before, and I've always regained. And then I went and I made a list of kind of in the last, I don't know, 20 years or so, how many major, weight loss, how many times I've had major weight loss. And I think I came up with like 4 in the, in the 90s. Since the 90s, I think about 4 that I had some major, and I'm not talking about like 30 pounds, but I'm talking about like 60 or 80 or something. I don't even remember the numbers anymore, but major. And then the shame and loathing of regain. And I know that a lot of you who are much further along in the process are experiencing that. And I spent some time in therapy this week, talked to my therapist about it, who I've been seeing for the last 9 years, and who's a specialist in eating disorders. And here's what she mentioned that was so helpful to me, because when I talked to her about what the panic was about and how I felt and how it felt, the looking at myself and the buying, a size 6 and knowing that 4 is next, is that it felt so the same, it feels the same as I have so many other times. And what she mentioned, which was very helpful, that I want to pass this on to you, is that the feeling can be the same, it can sound the same, but it's really different. And the reason why it's different is because my skills, my tools are different, and because I'm in a different point, a different part in my life. So I'm not starving, I'm not enough to fast. This is different, and that was very helpful to me. I hope it'll be helpful to you. I need to say goodbye for now, so take care of yourself. We're in this together, and I'll see you next week. Ciao.